It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I am Iron Man.
I'm Pickle Rick!
I have a dream.
I am your father.
I'm Sean Spencer. This is my partner, Gus Silly Pants Jackson.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
God bless America.
Avengers!
Assemble.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune. When I'm back on top in June. I said that's life. That's life. And it's funny.
Welcome back to life, you beautiful humans. On today's episode, I'm going to join the 35-year-old single white ladies, and we're going to talk about Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, the celebrity court case of the century. OJ who? Michael Jackson what? And we'll get into all those reasons as to why it's the celebrity case of the century. But before I can even tiptoe towards that direction, you gotta follow at the, I'm not asking no more, I'm telling, okay? You gotta follow at That's Life with Jacob on social media. At That's Life with Jacob on social media, our TikTok, our Instagram, our YouTube, so many exclusive content and videos that are only on the social media platforms, so please, go right now. Now let's get into Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, the final trial.
My dog stepped on a bee. We went to the vet.
Okay, so if you have been living under a rock, Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard for defamation of character. Now let's just quick recap for those of you who don't know the full story. Long story short, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp got married. It did not go well, to say the least. They got a divorce. Johnny Depp tried to sue her for defamation of character in the UK. That was quickly dropped as it is almost impossible to win a case in the UK. But nonetheless, that case was dropped, and Johnny Depp and Amber Heard came to a settlement agreement where he would pay her $7 million and basically, walk away, wash his hands clean. Everybody else goes away in peace, okay? And then Amber Heard decides that she's going to ride the coattails of this Johnny Depp alleged abuse and alleged sexual abuse, and decides that she's going to push herself into stardom, push herself into the spotlight. Hence why we are where we are today. Amber Heard wrote an op-ed and retweeted an op-ed and a link to the op-ed talking about how she is a survivor of domestic abuse. She is a survivor of domestic sexual assault. She is a survivor from her ex-lover. Now, she never uses the name Johnny Depp in the article, which is their big argument, but nonetheless, that was enough for Johnny Depp to finally say, enough is enough. You've already ruined my career. You've ruined my image. Now I'm going to stand up for myself for the first time in my life. And Johnny Depp is suing her for defamation of character, centered around the op-ed piece, mainly. And so we have I think it's a 5-week trial or a 6-week trial that has been going on, just laying out basically all the evidence of who's the real abuser. And then the last week is going to be arguing this defamation lawsuit. Is it enough grounds for Johnny Depp to win the case? And by the end of this episode, I'm going to give you my full thoughts on it, because at this point, I feel the trial's gone long enough for me to finally put this podcast out there. Because for a little bit, when you don't know the details, you don't want to be the first one to hop onto something, because it's a 50-50 chance. You're either right and everybody loves you, or you're wrong and everybody hates you. And I didn't want to put myself into that mold yet. Now, I did make quite a bit of TikToks, and one of them that went pretty viral. So if you're a big TikTok person and you've been following this case, hop on over to That's Life with Jacob. Okay, got some fun videos. But let's just kind of talk about the trial. There's been some super sad moments. There's been some pure comedy gold, and there's been some of the most legendary people in the entire world that have happened in this trial. And here's why I say it's the celebrity trial of the century. You know, of course you have the OJ trial. Of course you have Michael Jackson trial. I mean, there's so many, right? There's so many celebrity trials that are out there. Here's why I say that this is the celebrity trial of the century. The amount of memes, the amount of videos, the amount of TikToks, YouTube videos, the amount of content that has been produced, the amount of publicity that has been produced off of this trial alone. Even though this trial has nowhere near the significance of the Michael Jackson allegations or the O.J. Simpson trial, right? Those are dealing with rape and murder. I mean, this is a civil lawsuit basically for money and defamation of character. And while there's graphic things in it that, of course, we're not going to talk lightly about on here, at the end of the day, like, it's just battle over money and status, right? The reason this is dominating the news headlines is we have gotten moments that you will never forget in court history. Whatever you thought about, even for those of you who are big court TV fans, because I am, oddly enough, I find it to be one of the most suspenseful things that you could ever watch, because people's lives are at stake, people's careers, people's character are at stake, and it's wildly, not necessarily entertaining, but enthralling and wildly gut-wrenching to watch this kind of stuff. Amber's lawyers not only have looked like the biggest jackasses in the world, but they're on the level of, I don't think we've seen this level of incompetence since the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Now, I'm not going to talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. I'm not here to make a stance one way or another. But what I'm saying is if you've watched that trial, Binger, which was the main attorney going against Kyle Rittenhouse, he was the state versus Kyle Rittenhouse. Binger was probably the dumbest attorney that had ever been shown on a television screen. Binger was saying things that even the judge at one point was shaking his head, didn't understand where it was going. And, I mean, he got reprimanded like a child on national TV, if you watch the trial, probably 5 times, genuinely. I mean, reprimanded like a parent goes, "No, I said do not touch that candy bar, you cannot have anything in the store." A judge was like, "Oh, don't get brazen with me." I mean, screaming at a grown-ass man during trial like he was a child because he was that incompetent. And so I thought, man, I was just, I was like, man, that was one of the most incompetent lawyers I'd ever seen in my life. Then Amber's lawyer said, "Hold my beer." And we're going to get into them a lot more later on. But let's just kind of talk beginning stages, kind of the beginnings of the entire trial. Okay, so to start off, Johnny nor Amber were called immediately. We had a bunch of witnesses for Johnny Depp. It was his best friend Isaac. It was a couple doctors, a couple bodyguards. And we got some gold moments in those interviews. I mean, for those of you who don't know Isaac right now, then you've not been on the world of social media. Isaac, I loved her. I loved Amber. Like, he is probably one of the most lovable, likable guys that you could ever have as a friend. And I think he did really well for Johnny Depp's case. For the simple fact that this is a court of opinion a little bit. Right? Of course, you have to look at the evidence, but at the end of the day, the jury is going to, and people are going to lean more towards people that are likable. And Johnny Depp's best friend, Isaac, who is a semi-professional painter, has lived in Johnny's penthouses with him, played music with Johnny Depp, starts us off. I mean, I knew that it was going to be great when Isaac got up there. Because I don't know what makeup you're talking about. She don't wear no makeup. That's a terrible impression, but it's pretty close, okay? And I loved Amber. She's beautiful. I love Amber. And so we already get like these amazing characters that have come out of this, and just straight legends. Because we go from Isaac, who's a very likable, loved guy. I mean, it was hard to really go at him whatsoever. He's just such a likable, caring guy, and he has known Johnny's for so long at this point that his credibility is going to go a long way in front of the eyes of the jury. Now, people can say well, he's a best friend of Johnny, so of course he's going to be biased. And to that, I would say, of course, there is going to be a little bit of bias, but I like the fact that I felt he was the most genuine person that we have seen so far in this trial. And he was the first witness. He was genuine about what he thought about Amber, how he loved her. He thought she was gorgeous and all this other, they were best friends. She was always kind. Like, I love the fact that he wasn't just saying, Amber's a piece of trash, Johnny's the dude. Like, he was like, no, I loved Amber. Like, we were best friends. We talked all the time. We hung out. And, when she claimed that Johnny beat the hell out of her, that, I wanted to fight this with her. I had her back just as much as I had Johnny's. So, Johnny Depp, right out the gates, his first witness being Isaac was like, okay. Like, this is going to be the trial that everybody's going to love. And if we're starting off with a character like Isaac, we can only get better. So then, of course, we had another legend so far in the trial, which was, I think he was the front desk manager at Johnny Depp's, apartment building. Or he dealt with maintenance or something along those lines. But basically, he was in charge of the building, knew everybody in Johnny Depp's apartment complex, okay? So this guy not only wasn't able to show up to court, so he had to zoom in, but this guy zoomed in while sitting inside of his car, which is fine. Maybe he was at work and this was the only private spot that he had. I can live with that as long as it's done professionally. And he was dressed professionally, had a nice button up and he's sitting in his car, no big deal. Halfway through the deposition though, Amber's lawyers are grilling him. This dude pulls out a vape and she goes, did you see Miss Heard? And he goes, yeah, I saw her all the time. Dude, what are you doing? Absolute legend. And for those of you who are part of Vape Nation, hashtag Vape Nation, apparently the addiction of vape is real. Because this man couldn't go 15 minutes through a deposition without having to hit his vape multiple times. And it wasn't like he rolled down the window and respectfully blew it off to the side, even though that's not respectful to be vaping during a court deposition. But this dude just blows O's at the camera. He's just all over the screen. And the best part is the judge just so shocked about what she was, she's so shocked about what she was watching. And after he got done with his testimony, she goes, that's a first for me. But this legend also, he's just I'm just tired of hearing about this. I'm done. She's a horrible person. I saw her with other people. I don't want to be a part of this. Stop calling me up as a witness. I saw what I saw. And then he picks up his vape and he starts his car and he drives away in the middle of questioning. I mean, just straight up, boom, 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 as he vapes and just peels out of the parking lot, which is already, of course, against the law to be on your phone while driving, let alone giving a court deposition while vaping and on your phone and driving. So we got absolute legends. Legends. Several of Johnny Depp's bodyguards, we've had some amazing one-liners of, was Johnny Depp's ding-dong out when you saw him in the hallway? And he's like, I think I would know if Johnny's ding-dong was out, okay? So, you just got all kinds of characters on Johnny's side. And here's what's interesting about it. And of course, everybody calls her Dr. Hottie. I mean, just people that have just taken the media by storm. And I don't know if it's necessarily because more people like Johnny than Amber Heard. But everybody seems to on his witness side, seems to be very likable, seems to be very lovable, seems to be kind of endearing, kind of they have a sort of sympathy towards Johnny for what he had to go through that you feel through the TV screen. And I think that in and of itself has hurt Amber more than even Johnny's words could. Because if other people, you know what they say, it's if one person says you have a tail, you don't have a tail. If two people say you have a tail, they're probably just gossiping. If three people say you have a tail, you probably have a freaking tail. And it's they just bring up witness after witness, staff after staff, bodyguard, friend, neighbor. It doesn't matter. Every single one of them's charismatic as hell. You like every single one of them, and every single one of them basically are saying the same thing, which is why it is so hard for me to believe that Johnny Depp's just coerced all these people into lying to make one giant thing. Like, we all know how impossible it is to cover up a lie between like one or two people or by yourself, let alone you think Johnny Depp somehow got all 20 of these witnesses, I know there's not that many, probably 12 of these witnesses to coerce a story, all happening at different times and different locations? And that's part of the big reason that I took such a strong stand with Johnny Depp from the beginning. Not only have I met the guy, and there's a fun video about that if you ever want to watch it on YouTube, but the reason I instantly believed his credibility over hers, because I went into it kind of an open mind. Like, maybe he did do it. I don't know. We'll find out. I really was blind going into this, and then I've just learned along the way. But after about day 6 of hearing from Johnny's people, like, it is impossible to make the truth sound that legitimate. It is. Look, there's politicians that do this for a living that try and make the truth a part of their DNA, or pretending the truth to be part of their DNA, and they can't do it as politicians. You know that they're lying from the beginning, let alone 15, 20 plus witnesses for Johnny Depp that all recall what a horrible person Amber is, what a great guy Johnny Depp is, how they've never seen him do anything, and what's so important is that they're all part of different factions in Johnny's life. It's not like all 9 of these people were a part of the same apartment complex, or these 2 people were over here. This person, no. It was from the island to the apartments to California to Australia to Germany, like different people across the board with different takes on the same issue, which is Amber Heard's a psychopath. And so, like I said, right out the gate, we got very funny, very credible witnesses, very likable people from Johnny. Then Johnny Depp took the stand, okay? And I'm not going to lie, guys, it was hard to listen to it. Not only is he's a very quirky guy in general, too, so that doesn't help. But what I mean by it's hard to listen to it is we heard Johnny Depp, talk about his childhood, the abuse that he suffered, the verbal abuse, the physical abuse from his own mom. And that was on day 1 and day 2 of Johnny Depp being questioned. Like, that was tough to hear for sure. And for those of you who have been a part of domestic violence, for those of you who have been a part of sexual assault, for those of you who have had that actually happen, unlike Amber Heard, we'll talk about that later, you know how hard it is for a victim of that to come forward and tell their story. And I saw that early on in Johnny's face, and early on he was wearing his emotions on his sleeve. He had to relive moments that he had buried so deep in his life that he's covered up with alcohol and drugs. I'm not here saying Johnny Depp's perfect, that he's never said a mean word or never taken too many drugs or done alcohol. No. But those of you who have been a part of something that awful, you understand that you use things to cope with that. And so he opens up about how his mom was this awful, terrible monster, and how his dad just put up with it. Put on a smile, went to work, dealt with the pain, dealt with the suffering on the inside, didn't let the kids see, and stuck through it all the way until he could stick through it no more. And which I think is why Johnny Depp's story and his testimony comes off so much more believable, because he is very much like his father in that. And the way he could kind of mirror and parallel his dad's relationship with his mom, with his relationship with his dad, with his relationship with Amber, is pretty powerful for his case, to say the least. And I know a lot of people are like, there's still so much more case to go. For me, like I said, I'm going to give you who I think is going to win. I've kind of already done it online a couple times, but officially, what I think is actually going to happen here at the end of the podcast. But it was hard to hear Johnny Depp's life story. And by all means, is Johnny Depp, he's not a perfect human being. And, there was flaws and there's things that came out that are not in light of Johnny. And I think he knew that going in, like, hey, I'm going to be muddy at the end of this, but at the end of the day, it's going to be proven that I am not a domestic abuser. I'm not a sexual abuser. And in fact, I'm the one who's domestically abused, and who knows about being sexually abused by his own wife. And it's pretty interesting when you go through all the testimony, and we've heard Johnny Depp recollect everything that happened, how just on top of it he really is. He knows the dates. He knows the locations. He knows the times. He knows the months. He knows the years. He knows the people that were around. The only way you know that stuff is not from trying to make up a story and have to weave in the truth with your lies, but is from the truth. It's easier to remember the truth than it is to remember a lie. And so you're going to tell me, even the Amber Heard supporters out there, all 6 of you, listen to Johnny Depp's testimony. Listen to his witnesses' testimonies. The truth is easy to recollect. The truth is easy to talk about. Now, while the subject matter might not be easy, it's pretty easy for Johnny Depp to go, oh, this happened August here, yes. His bodyguard, no, this happened. No, I know exactly what happened. That's my job. No, I know this. No, I know that. His doctors, his therapist, everybody. So the truth is on Johnny Depp's side, right? I think that's pretty apparent. At least there's a pretty big chunk of truth. I'm sure that, excuse me, Johnny Depp being an actor, it's probably very hard to just not indulge a little bit, not to overact a little bit, not to oversell a little bit. He's one of the 50 greatest actors of the last generation. So I'm sure that some of this is played up for the cameras, is played up for the jury, for the court. But I think any honest, open person who does not have a dog in either fight or doesn't care about either side could say that Johnny Depp's side seems more believable because the truth is repeated from multiple people about the same instances and there's no hard variations, which is a pretty good indication that it's the truth. Now let's talk about the absolute crap show that is Amber Heard and that is her team. Okay, so Amber Heard, like I said, she accused Johnny Depp of all these awful, horrible things. And, has basically been pushed further into the media's eye, been pushed into writing op-eds, been pushed into writing, stories and being a spokeswoman for the domestically abused and all of these things. So Amber put herself back in the spotlight. She could have taken her $7 million, shut her mouth, gone and done Aquaman 2, and probably lived a semi-normal life, and let Johnny Depp sit in the dumps based off of accusations that had no firm ground, had no firm evidence, and are all alleged, in my personal opinion, untrue. She could have. But narcissistic, psychopath, blonde-headed pieces of crap, and that's the nicest thing I could say on this podcast, those kind of people don't know how to walk away. They don't know a good thing from a good thing. All they want is more fame, more power, more money, more attention, more insert whatever here. And so Amber decides, I'm going to ride this wave off of the Johnny Depp alleged abuse, and I'm going to go on TV shows and claim that I've donated all $7 million to to the ALSU or whatever that's called, and the Children's Hospital. It's not about the money for me. It's about being a voice for the voiceless. Blah, 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 blah. So Amber Heard gets sued by Johnny Depp after she writes an op-ed. And now let's focus on Amber Heard's side of everything and her crap hole of a legal team. Okay, so her legal team right out the gate. Very unlikable people, which you don't want to happen. Just like in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and for those of you who don't know what that, like I said, I talked a little bit about it. For those of you who never watched it, it's going to be, this correlation's hard, but it's what it reminds me of so much. Binger was one of the most unlikable lawyers known to man. He was rude to the judge. He was rude to the witnesses. He was rude to Kyle himself. It wasn't about doing a job. It was clearly about evening the score. It was clearly about, hey, I need to show myself to be a powerful jackass because, he wants to run for attorney general or whatever position he wanted to run for at the time. Okay, so it was all about political aspirations for Binger. And right out the gate, Amber's lawyers, just rude. Instantly rude. Everything is hearsay, hearsay, objection, Your Honor, objection, Your Honor, objection, Your Honor, hearsay, hearsay, hearsay. All they can do is just say, hearsay, objection, hearsay, objection. And I literally made a TikTok about it that went viral because it was the most ridiculous thing ever. And they were getting shut down left and right. It wasn't like they were winning all these objections and all these hearsays. They know that they are in a massive hole that they're going to have to dig themselves out of. And that all they're trying to do is just waste the time and hope that not enough evidence comes out in order for conviction at the end of this trial. That's all they're trying to do. They are professional time wasters. They are professional Amber Heard babysitters. She's a rehearsed monkey up on the stage. Miss Heard, did you? I only say what my lawyers tell me to say. And her lawyers, do you like bananas? I love bananas. Do you like pudding? Pudding's the best. Excuse me, objection, Your Honor. What does this have to do with the case? Your Honor, we're just trying to show you what a likable and lovable human being Amber Heard was and how she loves animal crackers and she loves pizza on Friday nights. We're just trying to show you that she's a beautiful, blossoming woman that everybody falls in love with from the second they meet her, and that she has all these wonderful friends and connections. Spoiler alert! No one likes you! Not to bust your bubble, Amber Turd, but you're the most unlikable person probably known to man. Go watch her on any, and I mean any, TV show interview. She is the most condescending, arrogant, self-obsessed jerk that you would ever meet. I watched her on the James Corden show because it played in this trial, and the entire interview was, I'm just a beautiful star, and I looked beautiful in this show, and literally saying how beautiful she was, and how beautiful she was in this movie, and how her hair was elegant, and how she has the body of a goddess. I mean, legit! So already in the eyes of the jury, you got an unlikable lady in Amber Heard, but the lawyers are like, we're going to try and suppress that and just paint you as this beautiful angel, and we're going to ignore all the evidence. Let's waste as much time as humanly possible so this trial runs out of time, and then at the end we go, oops, Your Honor, well, all of this evidence didn't get to come out because we spent too much time talking about, feathers and too much time talking about how great Whole Foods is. That's exactly what they're doing. There's no actual lawyering, is that a thing? Yeah. There's no actual job being done by these lawyers. They're professional grade A D-bags who are just wasting everybody's time. The only factual hard evidence stuff, and when I say edible in this case, the only edible evidence where you can sit there and it's tangible and feelable and readable and hearable and insert whatever here. The only thing that's coming out in this trial that the public can go home and make any sort of judgment on is what's coming from Johnny's side. And what's coming from Johnny's side from his witnesses when they're being cross-examined from her lawyers. Because her lawyers don't know how to do a job. They don't know how to shut people up. They don't know how to hide the evidence. They don't know how to not ask the questions. Objection, hearsay, objection, hearsay. The best one of all. The best one of all is her own lawyer objects to his own question. So he's questioning, I think, a doctor or a doctor's assistant. I can't remember. And he goes, you don't know what could have hurt Johnny Depp's hand because there's a big story about how Amber Heard threw a wine bottle at him and severed his finger and he almost lost his finger. And she claims that he did that himself while breaking a wine bottle to insert it into her hoo-ha. And also we'll talk about this in a second, about the medical records and all that stuff, okay? But he goes, you wouldn't know what could have hurt Johnny Depp's hand. And he goes, Dr. Kipper told me that it was. And he goes, objection, Your Honor. Hearsay. And the judge literally goes, you asked the question. And so then he got to, the best part is he got to finish the answer. So yet another witness says that, oh, nope, it was a bottle that smashed Johnny's finger that she threw at him. That's how bad they are. He objected his own question. It's just like the scene in Liar Liar. Objection, Your Honor. Grounds on telling the truth. It's a joke. And then I can't remember what the main lady's name is. Just, if there was a picture of the word Karen in the dictionary, it's this lady. Just, she's a horrible lawyer. She doesn't know how to, like I said, she's just wasting everybody's time. She doesn't know how to combat real evidence. So instead, she just starts bringing up these hit pieces on Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, that's what they got their whole lawyer team to just try and distract from the issue. Because if we focus on the issue, Johnny Depp has evidence and is telling the truth. So let's talk about, in 2005, Johnny Depp, someone claimed that they hated your movie. What do you have to say about that? That means that you're a domestic abuser. And they're like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Pirates of the Caribbean 7, Mr. Depp, didn't do that well, did it? Well, it made $800 million. So I don't understand what didn't do well means. Was it profitable? Yes. Mr. Depp, you have boxes at your house, correct? I do. Mr. Depp, those boxes have mounds and mounds of cocaine, like Breaking Bad amounts of cocaine in it, don't they? I mean, it's a box that looks like he could hold some cocaine. Johnny Depp is so savage, by the way. I mean, just putting these lawyers in their place. It literally is one of the most entertaining things to watch is to just watch her counsel. Because they're just drudging up anything and everything. And then they just claim stuff as the truth. They don't let witnesses answer questions because they don't want the answer. The best is when he goes, so, Mr. Depp punched Amber Heard in the face, didn't he? And he's talking to, I guess, I think it was a bodyguard. He's like, no, he didn't. He's like, so you're saying that he punched her in the face? He goes, that's not what I'm saying. He goes, all right, put it in witness, or the witness stated he punched her in the face. He's like, that's not at all what I said for the 5th time, but we're just going to keep claiming that as truth? Because that's the best thing to do when you're a liar. That's the best thing to do when you're just trying to cover up the fact that your client's actually the one that's guilty and that there's more evidence on your client than there is on Johnny Depp for anything. That we have pictures, we have doctor records of Johnny Depp. So instead, let's redirect to something else. Let's talk about literally cars that he drove. Let's talk about airplanes and how many houses he had. Let's call up people who were friends of Johnny Depp and say, you went on vacation with him, didn't you? Why, yes, I did. Did he abuse his ex-wife at the time? Which, it's not Amber Heard. I forget who the other lady was. I don't know why I'm blanking out. I had it all written down, but was he beating her on the beach? Absolutely not. I've never seen Johnny Depp hit her. But he could have behind the doors. It's like, what does this have to do with anything right now? We just played a video of Amber Heard. This is even the best part. Let's just get to, okay, we know that their lawyers are bad. Now let's just get to the hard evidence. We have video and recording proof of Amber Heard claiming that she hit Johnny Depp. I didn't hit you. I was hitting you, but I didn't hit you. And he's like, don't tell me what it feels like to be punched. She's like, you're not being punched, Johnny. Grow up. I'm not punching you. I'm hitting you. I'm not stabbing you. I'm poking you. I'm not shooting you. I'm throwing hard metal as fast as I possibly can through this contraption called a gun, and it will go through your body. I'm not hitting you. I'm not hitting you because you're hitting, you know that thing when you're kids where you hold somebody else's hand and make them hit themselves in the face? I'm sorry. That means that you're hitting them. It's literally like a child. We have video proof. We have evidence. We have recordings. I've never hit Johnny Depp. I would never touch Johnny. She said this all day yesterday. I've never hurt Johnny. Okay, let me play this recording for you, you piece of crap. I want to cuss her out so bad. She's also, oh my goodness. Okay, let me play this recording for you, Miss Heard. Beep. Johnny, I punched you so hard in the face. I know that you have 2 black eyes, a broken nose. I know that I tried to shoot you and stab you. But you're not being stabbed, shot, and punched. Like, it's just me frustrated. And then Camille Vasquez, or whatever her name is, the greatest woman lawyer of all time, I'm putting it in the books now, goes, so you just admitted that you hit Johnny Depp. And she's like, no. Oh, okay, but we have audio recording and video recording right now of you hitting Johnny Depp. I never touched Johnny Depp. Okay, well, you literally admitted it. You got to tell the truth at some point. Don't you think? This is what's so important about this case. At some point, the truth has to matter. At some point, you can't just say, he raped me, he beat me, he stabbed me. Where's your proof? I have no proof. Okay, but he has proof of you hitting him, and we're just supposed to say that it was what? In self-defense? There's text messages. Oh, this is the best one. Today, there was mounds and mounds of text messages, right? Of her, like, Johnny Depp says, I've got to leave the house. Because when things get violent, when things get physical, Johnny Depp dips. Which is the smart thing to do if you're being abused by your wife. Just for the record. So he goes, I got to get out of here. So the second he leaves the house, there's audio recording and video recording of her refusing to let him leave, holding him against walls, threatening him. And then, this is the best line that I've heard maybe this far from Amber Heard. We'll talk about the big banger. No, I mean, this is the second best thing that I found most entertaining. We'll talk about the charity incident here in just a second to wrap up here. Just so, because that is the all-time proof of what a dumbass this lady is and how bad her lawyers are. But she texted Johnny roughly 25, 30 times in a row. Please come home. Johnny, answer your phone. Johnny, give me 2 minutes. Johnny, I love you. Johnny, I'm sorry. Johnny, don't let the monster come out. Please come back. Johnny. Like middle schoolers, when someone doesn't reply to your text after 30 seconds, you're like, do you not love me anymore? So you text them, hello, hello, hello. That's what she's doing. She's a child. She's not only abusive, but she's controlling. And she's texting him. And in court today, she goes, is that not you chasing after Johnny Depp, not letting him get away, not letting him breathe, trying to abuse him after he's left the house because of the abuse? And she goes, that's me protecting Johnny. Huh? She goes, I was not trying to get him to come back home. I was trying to protect him. And she goes, read the transcripts. And they go, well, Johnny Depp never replied one time during the text messages. And she goes, it's for his protection. Okay. That's what, and some of you are home going, I don't get it. That's the point. These are real words that she said out of her real face today. It's for Johnny's protection. I wasn't trying to get, then she goes, were you trying to get Johnny's attention? Why wouldn't you let him leave? She goes, I was never trying to get his attention. I'm sorry, gentlemen, ladies, if your significant other goes, hello, 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 answer the phone, call me back, answer the phone, hello, give me 2 minutes, answer the phone. Is that not trying to get their attention, or is that just you texting repeatedly just for the hell of it? I was actually trying to do the opposite. I was trying to get them to ignore me. That's the grounds of, when I heard that today, that's where I was like, okay, this is honestly the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard in my life. The simple fact that she literally said that she wasn't trying to get anybody's attention and that the only reason she was texting him repeatedly and trying to get him to come back home was for his safety. I'm sorry, but if you're so worried about a violent domestic abuser, you don't buy him a knife as a gift. You don't text him repeatedly and say, please come back home. You must come back home. You need to lock yourself in this house with me. If you're being so violently and domestically abused, if you're being sexually abused, sexually raped all the time, if he's breaking bottles and shoving them up your hoo-ha violently, this is not trying to be grotesque here or crude, but if that's happening to you, why are you trying to get the person that's doing that to come back to your house? If he's beating the hell out of you, punching you left and right, you're bleeding, you can't breathe. You thought at one point today, she said in court, that she feared for her life on several occasions and he was trying to kill her. If he's trying to murder you, he's trying to kill you, why are you trying to chase him down via text message? Why are you trying to force him to stay inside the house? Why are you apologizing so much? Simple, easy questions, right? Guess what? If I'm not wrong, and someone else is in the wrong, I'm not going to go, I'm so sorry, my bad. I'm going to say, damn right you're sorry. It's your fault. It's so frustrating. The fact that she's so convoluted and twisted in her own mind. She doesn't see reality, genuinely. She doesn't see her own reality. And that is the definition of a psychopath. That's the definition of a sick person. Someone that genuinely does not see, genuinely does not know what convoluted, made-up story is going on. And we could go on, and I don't want to spend all day on the crazy details. These are just some things that kind of stuck out to me, like the text messages. I'm not trying to get his attention, and I'm trying to get him to come back home. For me, personally, if I'm being abused, my first thought is not, hey, I hope that she comes home. I hope that she locks herself in the house. Several text messages, please stop locking yourself in the bathroom away from me for your protection. Please come out into the living room or else. If something awful is happening to you, you don't want it to keep happening, and you don't invite that demon, if you're going to call him that monster, to come back into your house and come back into your life. For what? His protection? Doesn't make any sense. If he's trying to kill you like you say, you don't invite somebody back for your protection, or for his protection. You know what you do, though? You go to the police. But Amber refuses to talk to the police. She has no police reports. The one time the cops were called, the 3 cops that came in there and were a part of this investigation saw no evidence of any struggle, saw no evidence of broken glass, saw no evidence of any sort of a fight. They saw no marks on Amber Heard. So she calls and has one of her people call the police so there can be I know how this stuff works. She's just trying to get something documented on Johnny Depp so that when she files for a DVCPO or a restraining order, that she has some sort of credibility because the cops have been called for domestic violence before. But the cops came in and after concluding their investigation, saw that there was no injuries to Miss Heard, saw that there was no domestic violence, there was no torn up house. If you were telling the truth, the police would have written that into a report and you would have been granted a DVCPO that night and they would have removed you from that household. If you're getting beat the hell up from your husband, I say ex-husband now because he is, but if you're getting beat up from your husband, the cops do not say, oh, well, that sucks, and then shut the door. They will remove you from that situation or remove him from that situation and make sure that you are safe and taken care of. After 3 police officers did an investigation, they found nothing at all. And you then say, well, I was domestically abused. Cops even came. And then when the cops came in, now all of a sudden, according to Amber's team, they're lying. They're all on Johnny's side. They must be Captain Jack Sparrow fans. Oh, okay. All right, savvy. William Turner. That's a terrible impression. I'm working on it, okay? Why is the Rome always going? I don't know. They just must be such giant pirate fans that 3 police officers sworn to protect left a woman who was beaten half to death in her apartment because they were just there to protect Johnny. That's how convoluted and psychotic this woman is. Sorry, it kind of pisses me off. And we're going to talk about why I think this is important to finish up. But if you're being domestically abused and you have all these broken noses. She claims 3 different times she had a broken nose. Double black eye, slit forehead, busted lip, all these other things. Not only do you have pictures of them, which she conveniently does not have, she only has doctor pictures of certain incidents at certain times. There's blood on this. Why don't you show it in the picture? You took a picture of the writing on the wall. Why not all the blood everywhere? I didn't think it was relevant. That doesn't make any sense. That would be the first thing I take a picture of. If you're in a room and someone wrote jackass on a mirror and then someone had blood spilled everywhere from a leaking brain where you just gotten assaulted, you're going to take pictures of that before you ever take a picture of the mirror. So she has no factual evidence. She has no video evidence. She has no picture evidence. Besides a few doctor photos, she has not produced one photo about the broken nose. She's not produced one photo about the black eyes. Nothing. So all that aside, there's no police report that indicates that Johnny Depp ever laid a finger on her. She never called the police, but except one time, and I don't even think she called the police. It was like her friend. So there's no police documentation. There's no medical documentation. This psycho witch, who apparently suffered all of these traumatic injuries, And she was several times has said that she almost died at the hands of Johnny, that he used a broken bottle to insert it into her and rape her. All these horrible things. I have very good friends, and I have a very good friend who is a doctor. And he goes, you would immediately have to seek medical attention for lacerations in your buttocks, your hoo-ha, whatever. You would have to. You can't just go, oh, I'll put some Neosporin on it and we'll move on. That's how you know it's bull. Because you would have medically documented instances. You would have police documented instances. If you were so worried about the abuse, this could have stopped 4 or 5 years ago when you claimed that it was happening. It could have stopped at the beginning. It could have stopped in 2012. The first time he beat you in 2012, you call the police and you leave. Boom. Now you're divorced. Now you don't have to worry about any kind of case because she's not actually being abused. Because in 2012, when she claims that she was first abused, gone, done. You call the police, it's documented, Johnny Depp gets arrested, boom. You win the divorce settlement massively. Johnny Depp, rightfully so, mind you, if he was beating the hell out of her, he should be, a forgotten name of Hollywood, a bum that now plays guitar on the street. Rightfully so, if that was happening. So stop putting yourself in victim shoes that actually had this happen to them. This is it's personal for me, a little bit. This has happened to several people. And people like Amber Heard are the worst thing for the actually abused, for the actually raped, for the actually hurt and traumatized. Because there's no documentation from police. There's no documentation from doctors about any of her injuries. It's her running her mouth to her friends, and it has been proven that she has talked to lawyers and therapists about how would it be the best way to leave Johnny Depp. Because it's all been about money for her. Guess what, guys? She was arrested for beating her ex-wife. There's only been one documented instance of domestic abuse in this relationship, and it was her previous relationship with her ex-wife. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's so, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but it's driving me up a wall. What I was trying to say is, in a clear-cut way, none of her witnesses have been credible. None of her witnesses have been likable. Her lawyers are incompetent time wasters. She is a pathological liar. Her story does not add up. She apparently can recall all of these grotesque details during the rape and the abuse, but can't recall simple things like what year did it start. Can't recall simple things like, well, what movie premiere were you going to? Can't recall simple things like, I don't remember who was in the house at the time. But can tell you down to the minute that something awful happened. Down to the minute. What he was wearing when he was inserting a bottle into her. I'm sorry, but if that's happening, your first thought is not, I wonder what kind of jeans he has on. Not to make light of the situation. Are those the Wrangler 2000s? I don't know if they do jeans like they do cars. That'd be interesting. I want to get someone from the jean industry on here. Like, can someone seriously connect me with, like, somebody from Wrangler headquarters? And, like, are these, like, the Wrangler, TY 101s? I'd be curious. Anyways, why we got off on that tangent, I don't know. What's so frustrating, like I said, there's no documentation. She's been caught repeatedly in lies. There's video evidence about her abusing Johnny Depp. There's recording evidence of her abusing Johnny Depp. Everybody has been credible on Johnny Depp's side. She has not been credible one time. And I came into it, like I said, with an open mind because I had no idea. But I wasn't going to believe the victim. Because in America, we fight on truth. And that's what's so important. I'll do the dramatic stuff at the end because I do want to mention one more thing. Basically, she's a pathological liar at the end of the day. Nothing adds up. And there's so many details that I could put into this, but I don't want it to be a 5-hour podcast. It's already going a little long, I get it. But at the end of the day, Amber Heard is arguably the worst human being alive. let's finish on this, and then we'll wrap up here. This is the one more thing I wanted to point out before I give you my final thoughts and who's going to win and why. So Amber Heard was asked, on a TV show, what did you do with the $7 million that Johnny gave you after the divorce settlement? Because it had always been about, this isn't about money, this isn't about money, this isn't about money. Okay, great. So if it's not about money, she claims that she's going to donate all $7 million to the ACLU and to the Children's Hospital. Great. Admirable. And if she was actually abused, that would be one of the most noble things anybody can do. She should win the Nobel Peace Prize for being not only a domestically abused woman, but for donating all of that stuff to the right, to charity, because it wasn't about the money for her. It was about the struggle and the fear that she had to go through. That would be a beautiful segment if it was honest and true. So yesterday, Camille Vasquez, the best woman lawyer in all of the world, has been grilling Amber Heard in the cross-examination. And this was one, and this is how you know. And the reason I'm finishing up with this story before I go into my final thoughts is, this is the definition of a sick person. This is the definition of a psychopath. This is the definition of somebody that's so ill in their own mind and so sociopathic that they don't know right from wrong, truth from lies. So she goes, Amber, as we sit here today, you have not donated your $7 million to the charities, correct? And she goes, incorrect. She goes, so you're telling me that you have donated all of that money to charity? And she goes, correct. And she goes, but we've already had people on from the ACLU and from the Children's Hospital saying that you have not given them $7 million. She goes, I pledged it all. And she goes, respectfully, that's not what I'm asking you. I don't care what you pledged. What have you paid? As we sit here today, you don't have any of Johnny's money, correct? Incorrect. I gave him all the $7 million. Okay, so your sworn under oath testimony is that you've given away $7 million to charity. Correct. I pledged all the money. No. Back it up. I didn't say pledged. I said donated. And so she keeps turning to the jury, which that's another story for another time. And she goes, the second that I was granted the money, I pledged that money to charity. Okay. Hell, I've pledged a lot. I've pledged allegiance. I've pledged my time. I've pledged, dinner plans. I've told girlfriends, doesn't matter. I told my girlfriend, I'll do this. Absolutely. I've pledged a whole lot. Doesn't mean that it's happening. Doesn't mean that it happened. So they go back and forth. And she goes, answer the question. Have you given $7 million to charity? And she goes, I pledged $7 million to charity. She goes, not what I'm asking. Have you donated $7 million to charity? Yes, I pledged $7 million to charity. Amber, just answer the question. Did you give the money to charity? I pledged it to charity. This is how insane and stupid and psychotic she is. Amber, did you rob that convenience store? I only took things without paying for them. Okay. That would be called a robbing. She is so sociopathic, psychotic, insane. She doesn't even know in her own mind. I don't think she genuinely knows the difference between pledged and donated. Because she said, in my mind, those are synonymous. Which in her mind, they probably are. But in 99.99999% of the world... 999. I'm a child. In 99.9% of the world's mind, pledged means you're going to. Donated means you have. That in and of itself is the final proof that Amber Heard is a psychotic, unstable, mental nutcase. She doesn't even know the difference between pledged and donated. And then she started coming up with an argument. When you buy a house, you don't pay for it all at once. No, but if you don't pay your mortgage every month, they'll take the house. And she goes, well, I couldn't pay it all in full. No. Well, why not? Because Johnny sued me. He sued you 13 months after you had already had the $7 million. So let's use the house analogy. I haven't paid my bills for 13 months, but I've had the money in my bank account for 13 months. They're still going to take the house, are they not? Because I've not done what was required of me, which was to give that money to the person that owns the property so I can stay there and live there and eat there and sleep there. You have not made installment payments for the last 13 months. There's no credible record of you paying any bills to the ACLU or to the Children's Hospital. But in her own convoluted mind, I truly believe that she thinks donated and pledged are the exact same thing. And that's what's wrong with this trial. That's what's wrong with this trial. See, this trial isn't just about the insanity that is celebrity feuding. This trial is about the truth finally being brought out about domestic abuse, about sexual abuse, and being put in front of the light of the entire world. You see, because we have a problem in America with believing people just from what they say. Newsflash, people are liars, people are terrible, people are disgusting, they will connive, they will backstab, they will smirk around, slide around like underbellies of snakes to get what they want. And Amber's was fame and money. And she was able to lie her way to $7 million. And this is why this case is so important. Because real victims, not just men, victims. Because I know I've had people, you're just about this because it's a guy finally getting his justice, blah, 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 blah. No, has nothing to do with him being a man. Because I was here to be open to whoever did what. But this is unfair to real victims of domestic and sexual abuse. Because real victims are being told that they're wrong, being told that they're lying, being told that their truth doesn't matter, their evidence doesn't matter, because we always believe the false victims. So if I come before you and I bring hard evidence as to things that happened to me, and a girl beside me or a guy beside me brings no evidence and says, well, I was beaten by my wife, well, I was beaten by my husband, guess what? It's going to be harder for me with evidence to prove that it happened, because we just take the word of people that just say stuff all day long. That's what's wrong, and that's why this trial does matter, even if it is a little bit, and even if it is a silly example of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Because you can't just continue to say, he abused me, he raped me, he did all this awful stuff. I have zero proof, I have zero documentation, zero doctor records, zero anything, and all I did was get $7 million from him and go on a smear campaign so that I could use Johnny Depp's name to boost me to stardom. This whole cancel culture, this whole believe everybody just because they say it's so, has got to go. The truth has got to matter. That is why it matters if Johnny Depp wins this case. It matters because real victims that have this really happen to them are finally going to be able to have the loudest voice in the room. Not the people that say so. Not the people that claim. Not the people that have no proof and get stardom and get money out of it. Real victims will finally have their voice. I've got Johnny Depp winning this. And I know that it's about a defamation case, and one of the big parts of the defamation case is that did Amber Heard actually write the op-ed? And her lawyers argued absolutely not. She would never do that. And then the golden line that sealed her fate, in my personal opinion. Miss Heard, why are you here in this courtroom today? I'm here about an op-ed that I wrote, and my ex-husband is suing me for it. If that's not clear-cut final decision win for Johnny Depp, I don't know what is. Because this op-ed, the retweet of the op-ed, all of this is what this case is finally based upon. It doesn't really matter if Johnny Depp proves that he was the one being abused. Will he win the defamation lawsuit case? And I believe that the evidence has already shown that. I believe that Amber Heard shot herself in the foot, metaphorically. Because if I say realistically, I'll get flagged. But metaphorically shot herself in the foot by saying, yes, I wrote that op-ed, and my husband's suing me for it. My ex-husband's suing me for it. It's done. Johnny Depp not only will win this, but I think we'll see the rise of Johnny Depp again. Even if Johnny Depp wouldn't win this case, which I don't see how he couldn't, everybody finally understands what a horrible human being Amber Heard is, and how she is a pathological liar. Because if this was being tried for a domestic abuse case, if this hadn't been tried yet, If we were to just try on the charges of domestic abuse, she would not only lose, she'd be in handcuffs already. That's what the evidence shows. So I believe Johnny Depp wins. And I don't know that we'll ever see him return to Disney. I don't know that we'll ever see him return to many giant box office movies. The hell that he has gone through, I truly would not be upset if Johnny Depp rode off into the sunset with his peace, finally conquering the demons that have followed him since he was a child, finally being understood, and finally being heard as a victim for the first time. Amber Heard rot in jail. Choke on all the makeup palettes that don't exist at the time. Never darken the door of Chili's ever again. And forever, you and your lawyers royally screw off. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. That's about the last piece of content I'm really going to do on it, besides maybe some fun TikToks. So if you enjoy this story, if you want to follow the story, it's all over on YouTube Live. I encourage you to watch and go back and watch, because it's been a lot more fun than I kind of laid out to finish this. But it is kind of frustrating, like I said, knowing people and being personally involved and some stuff like that. It's disgusting the way that Amber Heard is able to just trot around and say, well, he did this with no proof. So I encourage you, go check out TikTok because there's some hilarious videos, and there's absolute legends that have been made from this trial. If you like the show, make sure you share it with a friend at That's Life with Jacob on social media. Once again, everybody, I'm Jacob Courtwright, and that's life.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April.